Yes, off the clock. J. Rose.
What up, Doe?
Richard, little Richie.
That's so disrespectful, but keep going.
Here we go.
That's okay.
If we had a chance to redo the 2018 draft, top 5 draft picks were Deandre Ayton, Marvin Bagley, Luka, Jaren Jackson, Trae Young. If you could do it all over again, who would you take?
6'7", getting triple doubles. Going with the taller guy in basketball.
No. Luka, yeah. I think everyone's kind of where they need to be in order to fully succeed. Like, Ayton is tough because when you talk about a seven-foot guy that has those skills, he might not be as dominant in those first couple of years as he will be, I think, older. So I don't know if the jury's out, but right now, Luka is by far the best of all of them.
I just imagine if Luka was playing with Devin Booker. I mean, they're exciting to watch now with Ricky Rubio, but could you imagine that pairing? Like, we would have that pairing for the next 10 years.
But there was also, part of James Jones and bringing in Monty Williams is, the continuity of the franchise has changed a little bit. We don't know. There's been a lot of dysfunction in the Phoenix Suns, so we don't know how good Luka would have been in that first year.
But also the key is Devin Booker re-signed. A lot of young players, they don't necessarily want to stay with a team that they haven't made the playoffs with. The record struggled overall. They've changed coaches a couple of times. So Devin Booker is a key right there.
How about Trae Young? I mean, he's putting on the show. I mean, Luka's putting up MVP-like numbers, but what Trae does, it seems like it's maybe more of an entertaining style.
Yeah, he just had 40 and 10. And the dude is, 21, 22? So all of those guys, the ceiling is still very, very high. When you talk about players at 21, 22, they're going to be far better at 24, 25. If they're putting up numbers like this now, if they even just get 5% better over the next 5-6 years, that's going to be scary.
And we talked about Phoenix. They lost Ayton. We talk about Atlanta. They lost Collins. Yet Trae Young still keeping them afloat, throwing it between guys' legs more than one time. He is must-see TV.
Yeah.
And then Sacramento losing Marvin Bagley. I mean, there's that big of a drop-off then, I guess, what we're saying between Luka, Trae, and then everybody else in that draft.
For me, it is.
Yeah. And again, it's not to disrespect. It's not to disrespect Bagley.
It's kind of disrespectful.
No, well, look, the disrespect is not on our part, seeing what we see with our own eyes and what every NBA fan sees with their own eyes. Like, look, there's a big gap between Luka and Trae, Ayton, and there's a big gap between all those. The only one that I'll give a slight pass to is Ayton, only because 7-footers can take time to develop. And he's got all the skills and tools. If he turns into a David Robinson by the time he's 28, we might be looking at this differently because he has that body type, that size, and that skill. That's the only person that could be somewhat a little bit different in 5 or 6 years.
Could you make that same excuse for Marvin Bagley, though, if you're talking about management, if you're saying where the Suns were at before they had Monte, getting a guy like Luka, they didn't make that decision, went for DeAndre, same for Sacramento Kings? Well, it's not like they've had the most healthy culture.
But they had a good year last year. They had a good year last year. They were just outside the postseason. I think they might have overachieved a little bit last year. But no, I think Bagley's going to be a good player. But there's a difference between being a star and like us. Like, we watch Ja Morant out there and we're like, oh, no, that's different, right? And it's different right away. Zion Williamson, different right away. Trae Young, different right away. Same with Luka. Like, they're all different, and we know this because we played. Like, we all walk into a room. Oh, I'm a bad boy. I know how to play. I'm Final Four. I'm this. I'm that. All of us went to the Final Four. We all came in with all these accolades. But what happens the minute we see somebody? We like, oh yeah, he's different, right? And that was the same way people looked at you when you walked into a room in high school. Or you walked into a room in college. They're like, oh yeah, we're good, but those guys are different.
But the great thing about Luka and Trae, I think they both can be all-stars this year.
Yeah.
How about this one? So 1 versus 2. Would you have Luka or would you have Trae and DeAndre Hunter? You're starting the franchise. 2 versus 1.
Luka.
Well, it's going to be Luka all the way. That's what I'm saying.
Look, can we have an honest conversation? We'll turn off the cameras. I think everybody is where they need to be, right? I think Luka and the way the Dallas Mavericks organization is run and what they've had with Dirk and Steve Nash, they're right where they need. Trae Young and Atlanta and the energy that's in that building. Everyone low-key is kind of like in a place where they can succeed, not only on the court, but off the court in the community and just the connection to the fan base. I think that's a real thing.
Say that off the camera. Why
it was a joke. It was a joke, dude.
And you mentioned him earlier. So is Ja Morant, too.
Yeah, Ja Morant, too. Yeah, Trae a country boy that gets to be in a place, and the way he plays, that grit and grind. And look, there's so much respect even from Conley, just being like, yo, like they're in good hands with that kid. And you know, we did the feature on him, and you see him out there with a big lake and just hanging out in the country. That's where he feels most comfortable. I think Zion Williamson also, like, they needed that. That was a shot in the arm for the entire community, for the fan base, for everything. So we could do the redraft, but it's rare that you can say all of those guys, and even Ayton being, you know, going to U of A, being from Phoenix, playing in Phoenix, right? Like, if he can get, you know, his situation, you know, resolved and get good, I got no complaints for everybody. Yeah,
U of A
yeah.
Just holding on.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold on forever.
There you go. Oh, good. Oh,
Nice hand. Look, he got scared. It's not a hand grenade.
Off the clock.
Jeez. Ah, jerk.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports, highlights, and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.